The PlayStation 5 launched 3 years ago and has already cemented itself as one of the best consoles ever. It's delivered some unforgettable gaming experiences with stunning visuals and incredible stories that remain within us. Narrowing down the very best is tough, but join us as we rank the top 30 best PS5 games. WWE 2K23. It's easy to forget the slump that the WWE 2K series saw, especially with how much WWE 2K20 was rightfully panned, but that's why subsequent entries like 2K23 are even more impressive. It builds on the polish and combat systems in WWE 2K22 while improving the visuals further and adding new features like war games, a new showcase, and updates to existing modes. Plus, the Royal Rumble now supports up to 8 players online. Trine 5, a Clockwork Conspiracy. The Trine series has always been known for its puzzle platforming shenanigans. We don't talk about Trine 3, as each hero has unique ways to bypass obstacles. Trine 5, A Clockwork Conspiracy, is arguably the best yet, with 20 levels and 4-player online co-op, which results in a chaotic good time. Mortal Kombat 1. There are several reasons to dislike Mortal Kombat 1, the microtransactions, the Switch version, the initial launch of invasions, etc. However, at its core, this is still one of the most fun entries in the series, from its story mode, which escalated into unexpected insanity by the end, or the new cameo fighters, which allow for all kinds of combos. It looks and feels good to play with solid netcode, so here's hoping it's polished further down the line. Lies of P. A Bloodborne remaster, remake, sequel may never happen, but NeoWiz's Lies of P is still a strong alternative. Its Belle Epoque era evokes the doomed atmosphere of Yharnam, while delivering excellent combat and customization to go with strong enemy design and bosses. Couple that with some gorgeous visuals and a well-tuned difficulty, and it's one of the better Souls-likes released in recent years. Like a Dragon Ean. Like a Dragon Ean is more than another fun action-adventure, as it's also an involving story set in the Bakumatsu era, as Sakamoto Ryoma seeks revenge for the death of his master, with solid combat, a plethora of activities, and numerous sub-stories, even if they're not the series' best. Like a Dragon Ean proves to be the best and really only way to experience this PS3 classic. Lost Judgment. For those seeking a more contemporary Like a Dragon experience, Lost Judgment is the ticket. It sees private detective Takayuki Yagami returning to investigate a new case, which takes him to Seiryo High School in Izizaki, Ijinsho, Yokohama. In addition to new combat styles like Snake and Boxer, the sequel offered multiple new side activities, from rhythm minigames and robot competitions to classic titles like Sonic the Fighters and Fighting Vipers. Remnant II. Revamped world generation, incredible enemies that show little to no mercy, fun weapons, tons of build possibilities, thanks to the new archetype system, a stunning aesthetic. There's so much to rave about in Remnant II. Its secrets are fun to discover, and re-rolling worlds to find something completely unexpected is one of the best feelings. Of course, having some of the best Souls-like combat is also a nice bonus. Dead Island 2. We all thought it was dead, and not in a fun way, but Dead Island 2 finally clawed its way out of development hell to release this year. Lo and behold, it's a fun experience as you tear through post-apocalyptic Los Angeles, ripping, tearing, burning, and destroying zombies left and right. It's not trying to be too complex, though the skill deck offers some nice customization, nor is the story too overwhelming despite some interesting new directions. Dead Island 2 is just a fun time as you invent new ways to slay out. Kena Bridge of Spirits. Ember Lab's action-adventure title mixes stunning presentation with an emotional story. Fortunately, the gameplay is also pretty good, with fun exploration and combat, as Kena uses the rot to assist her against enemies when she's not helping other spirits pass on. It doesn't have the longest playtime, but Kena's journey will stay with you after it's over. Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals. While its choices aren't as impactful as the first game, Oxenfree 2 Lost Signals is a strong sequel in the supernatural walk-and-talk horror series. The atmosphere and tone, not to mention the many conversations that Riley will experience, are still endearing and evolve her character well. Street Fighter 6. Capcom's legendary fighting game franchise was overdue for a renaissance, and Street Fighter 6 more than delivers. With gorgeous visuals courtesy of RE Engine and the incredibly fun drive system, the sequel offered some of the most strategic and hyped fights yet. It also introduces Battle Hub, a virtual arcade for players to meet and fight, and World Tour, a fun story-focused mode to familiarize yourself with the mechanics. Street Fighter 6 is the complete package and a long overdue comeback for the series. Hogwarts Legacy. While Hogwarts Legacy isn't rewriting the book on open-world titles, much less adding to the wizarding world lore in meaningful ways, it's still a surprisingly good time. The spell-focused combat is fun and fast-paced, while the world offers several activities, from the dark arts battle to collecting beasts for the vivarium, to immerse yourself in. The Last of Us Part 1. The Last of Us Part 1 may be deemed unnecessary, with the remaster doing a competent job of upgrading the PS3 experience. However, the attention to detail in environments, revamped AI, and incredible facial animations only add to one of the best gaming experiences. Unnecessary or not, it's still The Last of Us, and that alone marks it above and beyond most of the competition. Resident Evil Village. If Resident Evil 7 Biohazard dragged the series back into the slow-paced survival horror that defined it, then Resident Evil Village goes in the other direction. It's a roller coaster ride with frantic battles, impressive gunplay, and some grotesque enemies to overcome. Ethan's search for his daughter is fraught with twists and turns, but it also offers some of the most memorable sequences in the genre, like the battle with Heisenberg and House Benevento. Astros Playroom. Bundled free with the PS5, Astros Playroom is our first taste of what the DualSense is capable of. However, the 3D platformer offers way more, paying homage to Sony's franchises through the years while featuring some stellar gameplay. As a celebration of the brand and a fun way to showcase its future, it's well worth trying, and free in case you missed it. Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. Insomniac Games didn't have to immediately follow the stellar Marvel's Spider-Man on PS4 with a sequel, so it didn't. Instead, it offered a shorter, standalone experience focused on Miles Morales, who also dons the mantle of Spider-Man and struggles to balance it with his life. The story is tightly paced, the new characters are well thought out, and Miles' Venom powers offer a fun new addition to the combat. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart gave new meaning to thinking with portals, with the iconic duo on a dimension-hopping tour in the latest 3D platformer. From bigger worlds and new guns to a presentation that showcased what the PS5 could offer in terms of ray tracing and fast loading times, Rift Apart is a stunning effort. Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. From Software's legendary mech combat series finally received its long-overdue resurrection with Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. While the combat is tense and fast-paced, it offers extensive customization, allowing players to build a multi-legged AC that hovers continuously or a battle tank that cruises around delivering death. The involving characters, branching routes, and incredible boss fights are just the icing on the dystopian cake. Final Fantasy XVI. Final Fantasy XVI is just an incredible experience. The main pillars of the genre, the setting, and combat are all simply excellent, and there's a decent amount of side content to keep you busy as well. The icon battles alone are worth the price of admission. Demon's Souls. How do you remake not just one of the best Souls-likes of all time, but also the title that started it all? As Bluepoint Games showcased with the Demon's Souls remake, quite easily. Even with gorgeous overhauled visuals, it retains the distinct combat, difficulty, and mechanics that set the game apart from the other titles, proving that the gameplay holds up over time. Returnal. Live, Die, and Repeat holds new meaning in Housemarque's roguelike action third-person shooter. However, Returnal makes it work, meshing story revelations and some genuinely unsettling environments, with an interesting exploration loop and stellar combat. It's not for everyone, especially when the bullet hells start rolling, but it's still a standout exclusive for the PS5. Dead Space. It seemed impossible that the franchise could ever return, but Motive Studios pulled it off while retaining everything that made the survival horror incredible. However, along with revamped visuals, it went even further with the Dead Space remake, introducing new mechanics like the peeling system and revamped zero-G gameplay. While the overall exploration and storytelling are slightly different from the original, Dead Space is still a worthwhile experience and one of 2023's scariest games. Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. Several years ago, the thought of Cyberpunk 2077 redeeming itself seemed almost impossible, given the backlash at release. 3 years later, it's now an incredible cyberpunk FPS RPG with fun builds, excellent combat, and involving activities like police chases and vehicular combat. It's also received one of the best expansions of all time in Phantom Liberty, introducing even more unforgettable characters like Solomon Reed and Songbird in an awesome new storyline. Gran Turismo 7. As the first mainline title in the series since 2013's Gran Turismo 6, GT7 has evolved incredibly since its release. It launched with over 420 cars and has only received more through monthly updates, while various modes like GT Cafe offered a new appreciation for car culture. Considering all of the events, tracks, and scapes included, which have also expanded since launch, and the jaw-dropping visuals, Gran Turismo 7 is a must-play racing sim. Alan Wake 2. It's hard to dive into what makes Alan Wake 2 great without offering spoilers. You could say it's a stellar survival horror that builds on Remedy's excellent presentation and attention to detail honed over the years. You could also say it has an incredible layered story full of mystery and nuance. However, make no mistake with how long it's waited to finally continue the story, Remedy knocked it out of the park with Alan Wake 2. Marvel's Spider-Man 2. With a map roughly twice as large as the previous game, stunning visuals, and new combat moves, suits, and activities, Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is already a huge step up. However, the story seals the deal, offering a compelling tale of Peter Parker and Miles Morales as they confront new challenges like Kraven, the Hunter, and the Symbiote, especially when it takes over Peter's life. It's an emotional roller coaster filled with some of Insomniac's best set pieces that you must play. Horizon Forbidden West plus Burning Shores. Aloy's adventures have become the stuff of legend, with Forbidden West offering an incredibly detailed world to explore, stellar combat to dive into, and some of the best visuals the genre has ever seen. Meanwhile, Burning Shores expanded on it further with one of the most epic boss fights ever seen on the PS5. In terms of open-world adventures, Horizon Forbidden West and Burning Shores make for a potent combo. God of War Ragnarok. The end of the Norse saga saw Kratos and Atreus involved in the cataclysmic Ragnarok, with incredible boss fights, intricate combat mechanics, and one of the best villains in the series. However, Sony's Santa Monica's sequel also expanded on the adventuring aspect, with larger realms, more involving side quests, and additional challenges, topped by an impressive postgame. It may not have the conclusion everyone expected, but God of War Ragnarok is still a hallmark first-party title. Baldurs Gate 3. Larian Studios faced almost overwhelming expectations with Baldur's Gate 3. To say it succeeded is an understatement, especially on PS5. Nearly everything about Baldur's Gate 3, from the side quests to the world design, combat, and presentation, is incredible. Even with some performance issues in Act 3, it's a must-play title that redefines what a role-playing game can be. Elden Ring. There's not much more that could be said about Elden Ring at this point, despite being less than 2 years since its release. From Software's take on an open-world Souls-like has provided some unforgettable moments, with unexpected discoveries and almost endless secrets still being discovered. Whether it's your favorite From Software title or not, there's no denying that Elden Ring is simply one of the best games ever made. And that brings us to the end of the video. A quick request, we upload new videos every single day, and if you like what we're doing, please consider subscribing. It really helps us out. Also, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon so that you can receive daily video updates. Thanks for watching.